and there's a contingency of people, who probably dismiss what I'm saying to being, conspiracy theory or whatever. But I don't subscribe to that terminology, conspiracy theory. I think that, realistically, we live in a world filled with um, diverse characteristics of all different types of people. And, there are good and bad people in every walk of life. And so, for that reason alone, if you don't believe, if you can't even conceive that someone could be doing something underhanded, it makes it that much easier for them to achieve it. So, with regards to the term conspiracy theory, that's planting the seed that possibly that's like using the Jedi mind trick on you, basically, to make you think like you're crazy because why would someone perceivably of this status or of this perceived moral fiber be committing, something not so morally cool, So as that pertains to hip hop, there since 1990, and my legendary brother Reddy Red can attest to this. Since 1990, there has been a conscious and deliberate effort on the people or the entities that really control our entertainment culture to influence the most influenced population to be, I guess, influenced through the power of suggestion to behave like criminals. The prison industrial complex controls our music culture. And so every time we turn on our conventional radio, stations like Hot 97, Power, whoever, we hear these songs that are influential in helping our youth to have a perception about how to, I guess, follow in the footsteps of their favorite artists. If every day of your young impressionable life, your favorite artist who's in your ear more hours a day than your parent and your teacher, and they're telling you that the road to their success was to stand on the corner and sling packs and, excuse my language, shoot niggas and, F hoes, a percentage of the population by way of the power of suggestion becomes that because, you're influenced by what we see and we hear. Audio frequencies and visual images are two things that enter a person's subconscious mind without our permission. A perfect example of that would be the fact that, how many times have you heard a song that you absolutely hated, but because of the fact that the people who are responsible for dictating what songs are played on the radio stations, they're called program directors, and they're called that for a very good reason because they program the music that programs the listener. So for that reason alone, you know what I mean, when you're listening to this music every day and you're listening to it in rotation, it causes a perception. And the perception that it causes influences the most influenced population amongst us to behave a certain way. That's the reason why advertising companies spend billions and billions of dollars every year to pay for commercials to make people make the consumers believe that we need their products. But the truth of the matter is that if it has a commercial, the chances are we don't really need it.
Wow.
Yeah. So sorry to be so long-winded, but that's what it is.
No, absolutely right. Letting you speak because I went through that firsthand. What you talk about, nobody sees it or believes it. We had talked about that before. secret meeting that took place that changed the face of hip hop.
Absolutely.
I was right there when it happened. And I tell people, if you watch our Unsung, it shows it. And all of a sudden now we commercial, we trying to find some type of commercial success. They go to LA, come back, next thing you know, we gangster. We don't talk about things, and that put the darkness on me, man. I hate it. I had to leave it, man. I had to go. I said, this ain't what I was down for, or how I learned this art to do this, to conspire to kill my brothers and sisters, man. Especially learning God. I tell people all the time, my biggest influence is you gentlemen, man. Won't for y'all, Red's grandmother never would have let him do this in the first place. If it had not been for y'all records, oh, trust me, it wasn't going to happen, bro. It wasn't going to happen. She heard y'all, she gave her a blessing. Everybody fell in line. I was saying this last night about the impact that you guys have. And if you're on my page every day, there's always something about Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five or yourself or the impact that it had on me, man. Because y'all have to
I see it.
Yeah.
I see it, and I appreciate that acknowledgement and and the respect that you give me. And you know what, my brother, is right back at you, because when the Ghetto Boys dropped that joint, and I was like, that hit me hard, even though when gangster rap first hit, I didn't understand that it would become the movement that it had become, because I didn't know that the powers that be was guiding it to become that at the time. You know what I mean? That was a conscious and deliberate thing. And in retrospect, and the way that I see it today, like for example, if you notice, when the majority of the radio stations, when they say, back in the days, they only go back but a certain, to a certain point. And and they call the 90s in hip hop basically the golden era. And that's a conscious and deliberate thing, because of the fact that, the music of the 90s era of hip hop was some of the best music that hip hop has had to date, because of the fact that during the 90s basically regurgitated most of the 70s music, which we're hearing in the Get Down, right? The tracks from Diana Ross that became, the joint Biggie did with Mace, you know what I mean? More Money, More Problems, you know what I mean? And so all of the songs that fit that mold and that were released during the 90s were very successful, because of the fact that one thing that I will give Puffy credit for was that he had the vision to make use of all of the radio friendliest commercial danceable hit songs from the 70s, and he made Biggie put the hardcore lyrics on them, and because they were danceable and radio friendly, it took a lot of the sting off of the gangsterism that was indicative of Biggie's lyrics. So that's the reason why it wasn't such a slap in the face to people whose palate wasn't ready, whose musical palate wasn't ready for, gangster rap. So that helped soften the blow and helped, Biggie get ushered in a little more smoothly. Now, if we take a group like N.W.A, they were one of the first beneficiaries of gangster rap being embraced by the prison industrial complex and being ushered into mainstream popular music. And as a result of that, you know, even though people were, you know, they were not, you know, they didn't have the softening of their blow um, cushioned by anything. Like they was just straight raw. You know, fuck the police, excuse my language, or you know whatever other
No, you
songs
good.
that they, you know, like at the end of the day, it was the shock value, the novelty of the shock value of the fact that they were one of the earliest artists to be marketed that way deliberately. That's the reason why, you know, why they won, because they didn't have, you know, they didn't really have any competition. There was no one else like them at that time, saying the things that they were saying. And if they were, they didn't have the machine behind them. You know what I mean? That dude, what's his dude? What's the dude's name? That first ran N.W.A.'s record label, the white dude,
Jerry Heller.
Yeah, Jerry Heller,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, yeah. You know, he had the benefit of, you know, being plugged into, you know, getting the first early checks of the prison industrial complex's marriage to the entertainment industry. You know what I mean? So, but all of the music of that era, it was great music, and even lyrically, and yo, mad shouts and love to my brothers, forever, Chuck D, Flavor Flav, and my favorite rap group of all time, PE.
Make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, like, comment, share. Also go over to ujsforlife.com, download the entire archive, and check out new episodes on Apple Podcasts and Blog Talk Radio.